Hey everybody, Dr. Faske back with another video, this time the Lyrical Etude for 2024-2025 Alabama All-State. Brilliant Fantasy. There's three main points I want to get across today in this video. I will not be playing it cover to cover, but I am going to walk through the three big points that I think will help you in your preparation for this. One is key and the associated positions. We're dealing with 5 flats. On your scale sheet, that's going to show up as D flat major. But it's not the major key. It's the relative minor for D flat major. The way that we find that is we start with the major scale and we count up to the 6th scale degree. D flat, E flat, F, G flat, A flat, B flat. So we are dealing with B flat minor. They share a key signature. Think about relative minor, they're related. It's like they share a last name. That's a silly way to think of it, but that's how the relative thing works in that way, from major to minor. So knowing that, we have some half steps that we have to consider, particularly in minor scales. The half steps are important. But the first thing you want to do is you want to take the quarter note equals 90 tempo that they recommend, and knock it down to 55 or 60. You get really comfortable with this technique at a slower tempo. Now here's the moment that I'm talking about. We have a change in volume from forte to piano, and then we have an F to a G flat. We're already in first, and some would say we're already in first, so why don't you just play the F in first? Well, because I have to traverse from the F to the G flat, and I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to play that G flat dead on in tune if I have to traverse all those positions to get there. So instead, I might do something like this. So I actually did 2 alternates in that position, in those measures. I did F in 6th, resolving to G flat, and then I played the B flat on beat 4 of the next measure in sharp 5th, because I was already in 5th position for the G flat. It was a slight adjustment for the B flat. I could catch the E flat on the way back up and then come into first for the F. So go through this section and look for the possibilities of half steps, particularly ones that might be resolvable on the same partial. Some of them are going to make sense. D to E flat makes sense to go from 4 to 3. E natural to F makes sense to go from 2 to 1. So why not do F to G flat, 6 to 5? The next thing I said we were going to talk about was the turn, or the appoggiatura, double appoggiatura. It has a technical term. And the cool part is that if you own the book, you can find exactly where that section is. It's this symbol that looks like most of an infinity symbol. In this case, it starts here, it goes up, and then comes down, and then back. That's a small graphic that tells you what direction you need to play. So we have a G flat and then the symbol. So it starts on G flat, it goes up to A flat in the key, back to G flat, down to F, and then back up to G flat. So slowly we would play it like this. So we were able to come back up and resolve it on the B flat at the end of the bar. Now, the first time, you notice I played it twice. The first time I didn't like the pitch on the B flat. I probably still don't spend enough time playing out there to make that a viable option. But if I'm going through this slowly, I can check it with a tuner, I can check it with a drone, I can make sure that I'm resolving where I'm supposed to. Now, the cool part here is that this next section, we're dropping flats like flies. We have E naturals, we have G naturals, we have A naturals. These are all notes that take away the flats that make it B flat minor. And if you look a few bars ahead, we have a modulation where we drop 3 flats, and now we're solidly in B flat major. So the first few lines of this thing, we started with a D flat. We are clearly in B flat minor, and then he uses 3 or 4 measures to get us from B flat minor to B flat major. So we want to build that drama up. This is sort of like we're playing with the clouds out, and then when it goes to major, the sun breaks through the clouds. And subsequently, if you want to, you can play it a little bit faster because it says più mosso, right? So I would encourage you, though, to make sure that you can play through this whole thing locked in at a slower tempo, maybe even with the metronome going. Resist the urge to move too fast too soon, and I think you'll keep yourself from having shortcuts that cause trouble later. So what I like to do in this più mosso section in B flat major, I want to make sure that I'm subdividing and I'm staying on the tied note long enough. Da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 ba da 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 da. I'm thinking that in my head all the time to make sure that I don't jump off of it too soon. Most counting problems don't happen in sections where we have 16th notes. If they're running notes, they happen in sections where we have a long note and we have to guess about the note length. So I would encourage you at a slower tempo to go through this whole thing. And you want to make sure that, if you're going slower, you're probably going to need to breathe a little bit more often. But at a certain point, you should get to the point where you can play these sections at a slower tempo with the breath that you want to take at the faster tempo, so you're not breathing all over the place. But it's just for demonstration purposes today, and if I was working on it for longer, I would probably really try to stick with those breaths. So yeah, that's kind of my spiel on this thing, and I hope it helps. Again, I'm not playing through them all the way through on a video, but if you come to Tuscaloosa for a lesson, I will put you through the paces on these and really make sure that you are good to go for the audition. And it doesn't have to be in Tuscaloosa. We can do something on Zoom. You can send me videos. I'm available to help. So, as I said last time, happy holidays. Best of luck to you and your family in the new year. And I hope to hear from you. I hope this helps. And I'll talk to you soon. Roll Tide.